What is going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to talk to you about SoFi. I want to give you a good overview of things that you need to know for this upcoming week, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm going to give you my price prediction as well for the tail end of the week, which will obviously incorporate their earnings. But before I get into any of that, making sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I greatly appreciate that. With that, let's get right to it. So as far as economic data, there isn't really anything next week that could cause a lot of volatility outside of Friday. So Friday, we do have the non-farm payroll. That definitely will show the consumer standpoint, and I'm a very big believer in that, especially for those that do subscribe and watch my channel. You know, I always reiterate saying that at the end of the day, the recession talks are always out there, but consumers are still technically making money, still maintaining their positions. So until that changes, I personally do not feel that there is going to be any recession or anything like that. And over and above that, this isn't necessarily any real catalyst or anything like that, but even Elon did tweet saying that inflation might be trending down. So hopefully all the fear and the FUD is going to be subsiding. My own 2 cents. Keep in mind, I'm not a financial advisor. Do your own due diligence. But outside of the non-farm payroll economic data, we are all going to be paying attention to the earnings coming out on August the 2nd. If you're looking for a very good breakdown of what possibly that might bring, I did do a very in-depth video of that as far as earnings per share, revenue, everything that might come out of that. So the good, the bad, and the ugly. But overall, I feel earnings per share is definitely going to be up there, especially with an analyst upgrade last minute on the earnings per share. So insinuating something positive might come from that. Revenue, I feel that we've always beaten our actual estimate. So I think this time is going to be no different, and it's the future guidance. I think that is going to be a very big deal. So take that how you see that, but let me know your thoughts on the earnings in the comments below. On a side note, I'm going to be live streaming that as well, so make sure you do subscribe as well. But when it comes down to it though, I just wanted to bring up something about FUD. A lot of bears are talking about, you know what, Anthony Noto is not buying any more additional shares because he knows earnings is going to be bad. And so when it comes down to it though, he has done a substantial amount of buying, as has also other insiders. But you can see it does look like the last one was on June the 29th. But keep in mind, there is something called a blackout period. So hypothetically, Anthony Noto is very privy to all of that relevant information. He is going to know ahead of time earnings per share, revenue, the future guidance, because he's also going to be co-presenting that. So he knows all of the information, which makes these blackout periods very important, because Anthony Noto could potentially sell or buy based on that information, aka Martha Stewart. We all generally know what happened to her. Obviously, she made trades based on information that she knew ahead of time. So it's one of those things. Blackout periods are very important, and so this is going back to the point why Anthony is not buying lately. So don't listen to all the FUD out there. Do your own due diligence, because there's a lot of people out there wanting to deter you from this very good investment. So at the end of the day, that is some things that you need to know. But overall, outside of the earnings and technically that non-farm payroll economic data, I think everything is just mostly going to follow the technicals. And so when it comes down to the technicals, we've been getting a fairly good boost overall because of a huge amount of institutional purchasing that has been happening significantly over the last month and a half. So that is definitely something you cannot ignore. But overall though, when it comes down to the technicals, I personally feel that things are looking very optimistic. Stochastic is at 42, so it has gone down quite a lot. We were very much overbought. We pulled back a little bit, cooled down, and now we're ready for a nice rally on the eve of our earnings. So that's definitely very optimistic. Momentum, number of buyers has been going up lately, so that's a very good sign. And on the actual chart, still technically higher percentile of the Bollinger Band, still wedged between that 50-day moving average and that central Bollinger Band. And like I said in the last couple of videos, we are most likely going to stay wedged between that until we either get a good catalyst from our earnings or a negative one to take us below that. So this is something that we are kind of in no man's land a little bit right now, but I feel that their earnings is going to do a lot of good things. Also, just want to give you a good summary of short information. So right now, short interest has been actually going down. So even on Friday, they closed out 1.1 million shares of their position, still 132.17 million, so still relatively high. Short score is 72%. 2.84. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. Let me know your thoughts on all of the short information in the comments below. And on a side note, all this information is available via Ortex. I do have a link to them in the description below as well. So generally speaking, I feel that after their earnings, we are going to get a nice little bump in actual analyst reviews. And over the last couple of earnings, analysts have really loved SoFi very, very much. And you can tell that based on the number of questions that they ask during their conference. So do anticipate that this earnings call is going to be significantly longer than what you're used to. So that's my own 2 cents, and I was very pleasantly surprised when it comes down to SoFi conference calls. But outside of that though, I do want to give you my price prediction. Assuming that based on my previous video on their earnings, everything follows to plan and the non-farm payroll is going to be very much positive and nothing disrupts the basic day-to-day function of what the market's going to go through, I personally feel that we can easily be at $8, and that's going to be post earnings, which generally speaking is still well lower than what I am even anticipating. I personally feel that they should be at $10, plain and simple, but still based on the fear that's out in the market still lingering a little bit, I feel that after their earnings we can easily see $8, if not possibly higher, depending on what is being said during their future guidance, because that is most likely always a Russian roulette, especially for 2022. You get some companies that give completely horrible future guidance, then you get some that are extremely optimistic. So it's all depending on what Anthony comes out of for that. So let me know your thoughts on all of that in the comments below. At the end as well, let me know your thoughts where you feel SoFi is going to go at the end of the week. So that's going to incorporate a lot of different things as well. On a side note, there's one thing that possibly could give a nice little catalyst as well, and that is the 13Fs. Some big players are going to be disclosing their positions within the first week, so that could give SoFi a nice little bump up as well, because technically a lot of retail investors jump all over this, and this is sometimes could be seen as a very big catalyst. And also keep in mind, during Q2 SoFi did get added to the Russell 2000, so that's also going to be a nice little bump up as far as institutional purchasing. So 13Fs will be very positive in my own 2 cents. But with all that, don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I greatly appreciate that. And if you do like my channel and support the growth, take a look at my memberships, link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. With that, I appreciate you guys watching, and let's all make a lot of money on SoFi.